Here we go. It's Friday night, May 27th. I was looking for the date. Can we kill the music? Sure we can. Done. And let's put on our revolving cameras. And let's get rid of our ticker tape parade. Dun, 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 dun. I think it was over on this computer. There we go. This stinky Ecamm. Peter, are you attacking Ecamm? Well, I've been asking for 100 years. Make the letters bigger so I can see them. Friday night, welcome! Canon R7 has been announced by Canon itself, and Canon R10 has been announced by Canon itself. Louis Lazuka, you will be happy to know I am authorizing you to buy a focusing camera that works well. I am authorizing you to buy a R7. Okay, now that does not mean ask me 1,000 questions. Why not this and why not that? I picked out the R7 for you. I would buy the R7 myself. The R7 is basically the 90D replacement camera, overdue by a year or longer. Canon actually pushed the $3,800 envelope on the R5, the R6 for $2,500, the R5 for, how much was that one? $3,800 to $3,500. So now we have the R7. The R7 is the camera that I actually would recommend to people from Canon. That's what was missing from the Canon lineup. Canon did not have a solid camera, in my opinion, to compete when I would say buy the A6400 or buy the E10, which is what we're looking at right now. It's the E10. So those cameras I could heartily recommend. And the Nikon ZFC, I could recommend that camera. The Nikon ZFC seems to not want to be focusing for some reason. Hello? Hello? Do I need to tap on you? Do I need to wake you up? Up. There we go. Okay. I turned everything on to test it at like 9:30, and the ZFC is still not focusing. So we'll have to go over there and fix that up. But the 90D was the best I could recommend from Canon. Not everybody wants to spend $2,500 on a camera. Okay, so at $1,499, $1,500 for a single dollar, you know. Let me see what is happening with, let's close the door, with the ZFC, the Kentucky Fried Chicken camera. I did something to this camera. Oh, I set it to the center point. Okay, so how do I fix that? You know how? Turn it off. And turn it back on. So the handicap at this point is I can't see up here. It's all the way up at the ceiling. So there is what we've got. So the R7 is, let's go take a look. Let's go take a look at this camera. All the way up here, we'll click the desktop, we'll go over here, and now we're looking at the R7. So what about the R10, Peter? I mean, that's the natural response that people will have. If you say, I choose the R7, but what about the R10? No, the R10 is like, you know how people go to church at Easter and Christmas and that's it? Okay. Well, the R10 is basically a rebel. If you plan on taking the camera out maybe 2 times during the year, you know, and you don't plan on doing very much with the camera, then I would say, okay, you could buy the R10. But if you plan on engaging just a little bit, especially at creativity, the R7 from the Canon line, that's the competitor to all these other cameras. That's the one that's actually going to, you know, compete in the field. And not only compete, but the darn thing is going to win. Okay. Canon makes a really very easy, wonderful, laid-back camera. And that's exactly, you know, what it's known for. So, you know, it's very hard to beat that camera. So the R7, let's put it this way. If I were going to buy a Canon camera today, okay, I would be looking for the R7. I'm retuning this ZFC. Okay, so that's the Canon camera that I would buy. And that's the camera that I would recommend to my neighbor when he comes over and says, Peter, what camera do you recommend? I've got a couple of kids, but you know, I want a camera I could grow into, and and not just be put to the side. So that's, I've got to say, is the R7. So now looking at it, the R7 is a 32 megapixel. It's the RF mount. So it's going to come out with the ability for an 18 to 45, f4.5 to 6.3 image stabilized lens, okay? And it's an S lens. So remember the EF lenses, you had EF, you had EFS. So Canon is basically repeating what they've done on the DSLRs and moving it over to the mirrorless. So would I recommend a full frame R6 over the R7? No, I would not. Okay, so that's my own personal opinion. You know, there's 100 YouTube channels out there, honestly. So everyone's got their own opinions on it. And when Canon flies you out all the way to Orlando, you're gonna be nice, all right? So the Rebel camera, I would say your cell phone probably would be better off, you would be better off using your cell phone over the R10. I did say don't buy the R10. Honestly, wait, let's come back to me for a second. I feel a rant coming on here. Okay, I do. I feel a rant coming on. There's no camera you could buy today that's going to do bad pictures or even bad video. I could just think of a few, and that's only because their video capabilities has not come up to par yet, like the Fuji. Okay, what an excellent camera the Fuji is, the X-T4. But when you go to video, I can't set it and forget it like I can do here. Apparently, the ZFC is not. Oh, it brought itself back into focus. Okay. All right. I was going to say it can't be relied on at the moment. Okay. So I wouldn't recommend a camera to people that I wouldn't buy myself. Okay. I don't see who would buy an R10 that I would recommend. I've got a lot of friends that are couples. They have young children. Some of them, the ones right across the street, have 4 or 5-year-old kids. Okay. Another couple's got kids that are in their 18s to 23s. Okay. And then you've got couples that I don't know right now. Well, yes, I do. Okay. That their kids are very heavy in sports at school. So why would I give them a camera that they can't grow with as their daughter or their son is growing through puberty or poverty? We take your pick. Okay. So Canon doesn't go backwards. Well, let me retract that a second. Canon did go backwards. Okay. When Canon had the 6D and they came out with the 6D Mark II, that was a backward step in quality. All right. The step in quality was a backward step, in my opinion. And that is my humble opinion. Okay. But normally, Canon, of all people, they give you a very solid camera to hold on to. It just plain works. It delivers great images. So the R7, so let's switch over here real quick because I want to talk about this guy. Okay, so this is the E10. The E10, okay, I think I paid under $700 for this camera. I would heartily recommend this camera. So the something similar to the 6400, A6400 and A6600, the E10 sits right there in the middle. Okay, at that price, it's very hard to beat. It really is. The problem is Sony stopped making them, and they used, or they said, I'm sorry, I don't mean used. They said it's because they can't get the products to actually build the camera. So where did I read it? I think I read that Sony is going to start with the A6400. Again, another excellent camera for anything. Would I shoot weddings with the E10? I could. Okay. Would I shoot weddings on a professional basis with the 6400? I could. Now, how should you hear that? Okay. The way that you should hear that, let's get my cameras rolling here again. The way that you should hear that is, what am I dealing with at weddings? I'm dealing in a professional environment. The camera has to work. There's no second chance to get that picture. Like a sports game. If somebody hits a home run, and the bases were loaded, your camera has to work. Okay, so that's the sports. You got wedding. Now portraits, you can redo portraits, but let's go over to video. If you had an interview to do and it was with a person, let's say that you just ain't going to get them a second chance at them again, that's kind of like a wedding. Okay, so right towards the end, before I retired and stopped doing wedding photography, I actually worked with a D800E from Nikon. And if I had a no holds bar, all the money in the world, and I was going back into a professional environment of any type, the Nikon Z9 is the camera that I would buy. Okay, but I sold my D800E, intending to move on, not realizing I was about to retire. So I got me 3 Canon D80s, before even the D90 was out. And I was shooting weddings happily with the D80. Excellent, solid camera. Canon does not produce a camera that is basically junk. What Canon does is they give you feature sets that can be junky. Okay, so let's take the R7. How much you want to bet? Okay, now none of us can prove this right now. That's why I'm willing to actually say something. How much do you want to bet that on the R7, the HDMI output is not going to output 24 frames per second? All right. If they do, this will be a first for Canon. Okay. Other than their very high-end cameras, let's rephrase that. Other than their $4,000 or very close to $4,000 cameras and up, Canon does not give you 24 frames per second output to go into your Atomos. Okay, that's just part of the deal. All right, the Canon 90D came out, and they said to everybody, there's no 24p on this camera, and there was a huge outcry, and eventually they did the what is it? the 90D and added 24p. But they did not add 24p if you were shooting out through the HDMI port. That is limited to 30p. So that's an area that Canon just does that. That they feel we don't deserve it. We are, I don't want to punished, or I don't know what it is, but they do not feel that we deserve that type of a feature. Okay, does the R7 have 24p? Yes, it has 24p. I didn't say the camera doesn't have it, but normally speaking, Canon will not give you 24p at that price level. So at $1,500, this is a camera I can recommend to any of you. Doesn't mean I'm unrecommending other cameras. That doesn't mean I'm talking down other cameras, okay? But Canon finally came to the game with the 90D upgrade. It's a little higher than the 90D, okay? But I don't, this is my own personal opinion, I don't feel it's at the level of the 7D Mark II, but closer to the 7D Mark II, which is the flagship DSLR in their crop sensor cameras, is the 7D Mark II, okay? So the 90D came out, and it basically overran what the 7D Mark II can do, all right? Still missing a few items, but they never updated the 7D Mark II. So now you have the R7. You've got an RF mount. It will take the adapter, and you can put all your EF mount lenses on it. Okay, so I've got a 50 millimeter 1.2 sitting there. It just wants to be used somewhere, okay? So it doesn't have any place to be mounted. So, you know, people know that I'm a professional. I'm talking local. Hey, Joe, how you doing? Nice to meet you. All right, so if I recommend something to them, it's got to be something that the people are going to be happy with. I don't want them to murmur and complain, well, Peter recommended this camera. It's supposed to be really good. I could have done better. Well, with the R7, you're not gonna come to that point, okay? You know, it's oversampled. Oversampled means you're going to get a quality when the E10 comes around. Okay, you're going to get a quality similar to the E10. The E10 is oversampled. Oversampled means it takes a bigger area and compresses it down into a 4K image for the video. What that does is it makes your quality, your resolution is better, and things that are mistakes, okay, they get reduced also as it's doing the compression, okay? So it does that all the way up to 30p. Now, if you go to 60p on the R7, it stops doing compression, the oversampling. So the R7, when you go to 60p, it actually stops doing the oversampling, and it goes for a 1-for-1, pixel for pixel, all right? The R10, just so you know, it actually goes into a crop mode if you go to 60p, all right? So that's why the R10, let's say I'm thinking of Louis Lazuka, okay, and I see you're commenting. I'll get to your comments in a second, guys. I'm just doing an opening rant here for a second. Not a rant, just conversation on cameras. So recommending the R10 to Lazuka or any one of you guys, I wouldn't feel comfortable with that recommendation. So if they're saying, well, I have to save money and that, well, just save your money and get to the point where you could buy the R7. So if you buy the camera, anybody buys the camera, you need a lens. So what's the standard basic lens? All right, let's go back over here. Oh, I have to do this on up. Okay, so now you can see what I'm seeing. Okay, so this is the R7. These are the specs. Let's go over here real quick to B&H. All right, so it's supposed to hit the market right here, June 23rd, estimated shipping date. Okay, so anytime a new camera comes out, everyone's always hot. I want it, and I want it now. Bam. Okay. All right, so at the end of June, these cameras will be pumping out. Okay, so what's going to happen is you need a lens. So let's go over to accessories and let's look over here at lenses. All right. So for the basic guy, I would recommend this 24 to 70 2.8 L lens for $2,400. What? I just wanted to see if you're paying attention. Okay. No, if you're a professional, like I would have that lens. All right. But this RF lens, 50 millimeter 1.8, is a must-have or close to it. But the real lens that you need, I don't see it here. Okay. I'm still looking. This one's interesting, 16 millimeter f2.8. But the one that I'm looking for is the 35 millimeter 1.8 lens, and I want to see how much that is, because if somebody buys the body only, they're going to need a lens. So here it is, okay? This one right here. All right, so the Canon RF mount, which means it's the mount that's designed for that lens. And you can see people are preparing for these new cameras. It's temporarily out of stock. Okay, but this is a 1.8 image stabilized. It'll do macro, which means it'll be quicker. So this will be your average 50 millimeter lens. So if you were going to sing and you're going to put the camera on a tripod, if you were going to do live streaming and you're going to put the camera on the tripod, this would be excellent because it's a 50 millimeter. If you're going to go to a party, if you're going to go to a restaurant, this would be excellent because it would be like a 50 millimeter, which is your basic standard lens. So it's going to be $449. Okay, they got instant savings, but it's out of stock, which I don't know what's up with that. That's their opportunity to have it at full price. Well, actually, if a person does a search, it'll bring them to B&H because it'll be a lower price. So that camera with this lens, or, okay, let's come back over here to me if I could find me. All right, so this camera with that lens, or you get the adapter, which is $99. Okay, so if you get the adapter, lenses that you have right now will work on the R7. So I've made my spiel. I don't recommend the R10. Oh, battery life is another major critical thing. If I was going to go into something as a pro, I can't be changing batteries every 20 minutes. Okay, so the R10's got the little bitty tiny baby battery. Okay, it's a rebel camera, not a camera that I'm recommending. The R7's going to use the regular batteries that you use in all the major size cameras from Canon. Okay, so let's look and see what I've been missing with you guys talking. So we have Simon from Ordinary Filmmaker is saying hello. Okay, and a few other comments. Ray, oh, if you want to follow this stuff day by day, Ordinary Filmmaker is where you need to go. So when you go read Canon rumors, Fuji rumors, anybody's rumors, you go to Ordinary Filmmaker, and that's your video version of it. He's on top of everything. He's got a setup that can pump out a video in less than 30 minutes. Okay. So Raymond is saying, hi, Peter. First Friday. Yeah, you've been at ball games, buddy. Did you get that urge to have a camera with you at the game, or were you just cheering and having a good time? I missed you, and I have talked about you. So Matt is here. Hi, Matt. Love you, Raymond, of course. Henry is here. Good evening, Peter and friends. Lewis is here. Mr. Camera Junkie. Come on. There you go. I don't know if this is a Ecamm problem or a Peter's Mac problem, but sometimes they will overlay each other. So Lewis is here from Mr. Camera Junkie. So hello to you, Lewis, and Aiden, of course. In the Blues is here all the way from Australia. And he's saying hello. How you doing, Shane? Boy, he's a good camera. He's a good camera. Yeah, Shane is a great camera. He's a good camera content creator to watch also in the Blues. But that's about music. He's got a channel called Geeky Nerdy Techie. Okay? And He's got the Panasonic GH6 in hand, and you get a lot of cool stuff there. And the S5, which Shane loves. He's told me over and over and over. So Ray said, yeah, or it's been a couple of bad weeks for news. We give the highest respect to the children, that it cost them their lives. I could go on a rant on that, okay, but there's no one that gets higher respect at this moment, in my opinion, than 19 dead children. Not the President of the United States, not any newscaster, no one running for any office, not the Queen of England. No one gets, in my opinion, a higher respect than 19 dead children. They get the utmost respect. And that means it's not a political thing. It's not to be used as a political thing. It's to know that some children went to school in the morning and did not come home at night. Okay? And people will use it as a chanting point, and shame on them. From the President of the United States to any governor, including mine, okay, that would use those children in a political way. Okay? There's one girl that said that her classmate was shot and she rolled over her. She rolled over her, didn't roll her over, to smear the blood from her being shot, okay, and played dead. And she said her classmate was actually still breathing at the time, okay. These are children. Children, when they get a boo-boo, okay, there's mommy and there's daddy. And these children had to pass through death without mommy, without daddy, with no one at all, okay? I feel my blood pressure rising. They died alone. Can you imagine the terror? Any human being that would use that in any capacity, political, religious, or anything else, is a piece of shit in my book, okay? These children deserve the highest respect possible, okay? They have died alone, terrified, looking and searching for their safe haven barrier that they've been used to all their lives, okay? Nothing needs to be talked about except what those children went through. The time will come later when everybody can do their bullshit, okay? But now, okay, any newscaster, and call them out, okay? Anybody that you see doing that, call them out on that. The children, this is the time to respect those children, and I think it was 2 adults that died. Okay, so yes, Raymond, we've had a bad week of news, but I get so irritated when I turn on the news and they're talking about everything except what those kids went through. Honestly, like the president said, oh, come on, man. Okay? It's like, I think of the child that's has a cut finger or fell off his bike, and he runs to his mother or his dad, or there's someone there of safety. And this child had to go through being shot, and the person of safety was not there. They were alone. Stop. Full stop. Right there. Okay? There cannot be disrespect for that child. All right? 19 of them. I don't want to hear about guns or knives or baseball bats or other killing instruments. They are not part of the story at this point. It's the children that died that's part of the story. Okay? So I'm not even going to make a comment, okay, on any of the instruments that can be used for death. This is about the child that died alone and terrified, looking for their mother or father, and they are not there. They're not there in school, okay? So that's my say on that. Is I give high respect to the child, and stop and refrain from speaking about anything else, and anybody else that speaks anything about those children and uses them in any way to promote anything at all. No holds barred. From the President of the United States to the Pope, okay, to the Queen of England, to, we don't have Billy Graham here, but whoever would be the top here now, okay, anyone that disrespects the children by bringing up anything to their advantage at this point, poop on you. Okay? So that's how I feel. You want my opinion? I don't know if you asked for it or not, but that's what I got to say. Okay. All right, so Lewis is talking about sugar and dieting. I'm still 173. So I didn't lose weight, but I'm a little thinner. Okay, so I don't know exactly how that works. Okay, so Lewis is saying, is the R7 the winner, Peter? Yes, it's the winner. The R10 doesn't even come into the category. It's like, it has nothing to do with my area of recommending a camera to anybody. I haven't recommended a Rebel to anyone except people that were hard up. I remember the SL2, okay, and that was getting into live streaming. But now, unless you buy an old camera, it's the R7 and nothing else. So that's the camera for you, Lewis. I finally give you permission to buy a camera after all this time, okay? So you can buy the camera and you'll need a lens, okay? Simon says the latest rumor is Canon is coming up with an R2 just above the R3 that is more rugged like the 1DS. Well, what I heard, aside from the jokes, Simon, is that they're coming out with something to compete in the very high megapixel, the 50, 60 megapixel camera, and that's what's coming up. So, Mario, Columbia or Miami, you need to put that. And when you say hi, you need to put that, because you know darn well I'm going to ask you, where the heck are you? Okay, so I'm looking through. I've got an awful lot of comments here, so I'm not going to just go my normal thing and just go down. Plus, a lot of you are talking amongst yourselves. Okay, so Lewis is saying, I'm hoping they make a 10 to 18 RF. They've got a 15 to something, but it's high priced. So you probably would be able to get the 10 to 18 EF and use the adapter. And by the way, Canon makes one of the best, most seamless adapters that I've experienced. You put it on, you almost feel like you haven't been, missing out or anything. So Sly, Sly, that's not Sly. That's Simon. And, okay, so Sly, there, okay. Hello, Peter, and all my favorite Friday Night Fellows. The best camera is the one you take with you everywhere and actually use. Now, you got a new camera, and you know, I can't remember what it is. But I do know you have a 90D, okay, and I know you have an 80D. So bring us up to date what it is you're shooting with, because Sly has just put out a couple of videos. So if you guys haven't seen the castle and you haven't seen her latest video, there's activity over on Sly's channel. So Anthony, welcome to the Joneses. Hello, Peter. Hi, Anthony. Hi, Peter and friends. Happy Friday. I pre-ordered the R7. Oh, thanks for reminding me. I need to put a link in there so I can get credit for what I talk about. Now, don't go canceling your order and stuff. But if you're going to order something, use my B&H links. It puts a few dollars in my tip jar. It does nothing to affect your purchase at all. Okay. So Eric is here, and he's saying hello, everybody. Dr. Charles Richard is here, and he's saying hi to everybody. I just got back from the movies. I saw Tom Cruise on Top Gun. All right. So Raymond, you're not the only one that went to the movies. Charles went too. Simon, I'm so curious about the RF Super 35 lenses. Let's see, Peter. There was one 1D Mark III camera with the autofocus problem. Yes, I happen to have bought that one. That camera right there, the 1D Mark III, is what actually made me take Nikon into my gear bag. My gear bag was, oh, Canon. Oh, what's this? Oh, it's Canon. What's this? Canon. So I was everything Canon and film, okay? Canon lenses, all right? And then I bought the 1D Mark III. Oh, was that a bad choice? Okay, I'm shooting weddings with a camera that they would focus when it wanted. Should we focus on that one? Okay, let's give Peter a picture that focused. And then the next one, oh, we're not gonna focus on that one. Okay. And then right at the same time, Nikon came out with the D3. Bam! I bought it. Actually, I'll tell you a secret. The camera company that I was dealing with at that time, that I had like a 20-year history, they're out of business now. It was Canoga Camera in Canoga Falls, California. So I was very good friends with the owner. And so he said, Peter, you have had so much trouble with that. Send me the camera back. I'm going to give you, and this is like 9 months, maybe more like 7. I'm exaggerating. All right, 7 months after I bought the camera. Nobody returns the camera and gives you full price back 7 months later. He said, and let me give you full credit towards the D3, because I can't stand thinking about you going out and shooting weddings with that 1D Mark III. So Simon is correct. It is absolutely true. R7 is the camera to get. I believe it takes full frame lenses. Yes, it absolutely does. It takes full frame lenses, and I believe it will take the EFS lenses. No, I'm sorry, the RF lenses. And it is a crop sensor camera. Today, that doesn't really matter a whole lot. Yeah, you could poke your flag in the ground and choose to make that your stomping grounds. I will only shoot with full frame. Go ahead. Shoot with full frame. It's okay. Okay. But Tom is clapping. Hi, Tom. I clap for you, buddy. I watched you and your wife with your 1-year anniversary. And what did you just do? Oh, the new Podcaster Roadmaster, whatever their update is, just came out. So you want to know about it? The Roadcaster? Tom has got a video out on it, okay? So get your cute little butt over there and watch his video, and you'll know about the Roadcaster, okay? Which brings me to the point of announcing that I have started actually recording a new course. It's going to be $349, and it's in the development stage right now. I'm going to have to do something to give something off for the pre-buyers, and it's going to be all about live streaming. Make friends with live streaming from A to Z. I haven't even named it yet, but be aware that I'm coming out with a live streaming course. Okay, seminar, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so Lewis is talking to Simon. Okay, Charles, let me read what you are saying. Oh, awesome! We are talking about the new Canon cameras. I can't believe that DP Review said that the Fuji S10, which is inferior to the Fuji X-T4, X-T4 is top of their line, is better than the 2 new cameras from Canon. If that's what they said, I say different. Okay, what am I going to get in a peeing match with them? The R7 is a camera that I would buy. Could run this, I could run my weddings, I could run an entire business, I could run video with it, and the R7 is Canon's point of entry. That doesn't mean Sony doesn't have a point of entry. Sony makes great, awesome frickin' cameras. How do you think they beat Nikon? Okay, Nikon is another camera company. They're all doing great. It's very hard to find a camera that is going to do bad. Okay, so all we're doing is just shouting like a sports team at this point. Okay, Lewis says, is the in-body stabilization digital like the EOS R? No, it is in-body image stabilization. The sensor moves around, okay? And it will work together with the, if your lens has image stabilization also. Eric says, I know. What do you know, Eric? I know I should double the shutter speed and frame rate, but would it be bad for shooting faster, like 30 frames per second at 1/1000th? It's going to look stuttery because video is a bunch of JPEGs. So when you match your JPEG with the frame rate that it's recording, it looks very smooth, whether it's 30 frames per second or 24 frames per second or 60 frames per second. Okay, but if you go to 1,000 frames per second, you're taking a frame. Let's say it's this. Come on, there we go. All right, so the frame is that size, and it's being shot at 1/60th. So now you're shooting a very small frame in the middle of that. So when it jumps from that frame to the next one over, it's going to look a little bit jittery. However, there is a reason, Eric, to actually use that. If you plan on shooting in 4K or 8K, okay, and you plan on extracting pictures from it, and that's your purpose, then you need to shoot as though you were shooting pictures and not video, all right? And that makes a really big difference, all right, because you don't normally shoot pictures at 1/30th and 1/60th of a second shutter speed if you're doing sports and stuff. So you're going to have the batter or the sliding into home plate or the touchdown throw or catch, all right, at 1/60th of a second. How many of you would go out to a football game and shoot at 1/60th of a second? I hope the answer is none, okay, because you should not be. All right, so let's say you decide to use your R5, which can shoot in 4K, and you want to record the guy getting ready to catch the ball and make a touchdown. Let's make this interesting, right? So you would shoot in your 8K, your high resolution, and you would set your shutter speed to like what Eric just said, 1,000, 1,200, 2,000th of a second shutter speed, because instead of taking the picture, you're going to take a little burst of 8K, just a few seconds. Ball is incoming, start shooting, incoming, caught, and he runs. Stop shooting. A very short clip. Now you go through that clip and you can pull out that one image at 8K where the ball is just dropping right into his arms. And you've got the perfect image, okay? And that's one of the reasons you would shoot high. Another reason is if you don't have an ND filter, okay, and everything's going to be completely overexposed, and you're going to come home with nothing, shoot at your 1/1000th of a second. But all of you guys that do sports or a lot of outdoor stuff, you should have a set of ND filters in your camera bag. 3 different ones, so that it can bring your video, if you're going to shoot video, into a normal range so it would look like a professionally shot video. It'll make you pleased when you look at your own video and you go like, how good is that? Okay. And yes, you can leave the camera on auto ISO, let it do all its automatic stuff. If you don't know how to shoot outside and stuff like that, but darken everything. When you put a filter, an ND filter, it puts a gray screen that's clear and excellent right across all of your images, pictures, and videos. And that will cause the camera to either come down in shutter speed or come down in ISO. Okay, so thank you, Eric, for bringing up that question. So Lewis and Charles are talking. Lewis is very happy to hear this recommendation from you. Lewis, you have 100% recommendation from me to buy the R7 Canon. And I'm going to follow that up by saying I feel confident that you're going to love the camera. You're not going to force yourself, well, Peter said it, so I got to love this camera. No, I think you're going to love the camera. All right? And I think as you grow, as your channel grows, Lazuka, that you also will grow into that camera. It's ahead of you. Okay? It's the right camera to purchase. End of story. All right? If you want to argue about it, there's a whole bunch of other people in here that would be glad to take you up on the argument. Okay? So Eric says, I picked up a second job and I'm helping a family friend who is going to be making short films. So besides the experience, Eric, I think you can have a good time. If you're not working with people that are short-tempered and they're kind and considerate towards each other and they don't step on microphone wires, okay, that was me, all right. I think you're going to enjoy it. I really do. Okay, so Lewis says, I thought you were serious, Peter. I don't know if I would like a 24-70. A 24-70 is a standard lens for a wedding photographer. Okay, the standard lenses for wedding photographers it's not their only lenses, but this is your must-haves. In the zooms is the 16-35 in Canon, okay, being changed to what, 15-35 in the RF, 24-70, these are all 2.8s, all right, and 70-200, 2.8 L lens with image stabilization. Those are the lenses that need to be in the bag. Now, you grow and I'm a good wedding photographer. I got money coming in. You start adding primes. So you start adding the 50mm 1.2, which I have sitting over there on the shelf. You could add 100mm macro f2.8 Canon, or 100mm not macro f2, which is the one I would choose. All right, and you could pick the 24, 1.4. So you start populating, because you need to reach in, grab a lens, put it on, and move on. Weddings don't take breaks. Okay, let's take a 15-minute break. Okay, the only break you get is when the bride and groom is eating, and that doesn't mean the photographer can sit down and eat. Okay, you should, but I would have a power bar or a candy bar. Shh, don't tell nobody, because I don't eat the candy bars anymore. Okay. And you go out and you do those sniper shots where you get a laugh from the father of the bride or a hug from somebody else, and you come home with pictures that put you head and shoulder above everybody else. No matter what kind of photography you're doing, even if it's just for yourself, always do something that's going to make you head and shoulders above everyone else, okay? So Charles says all cameras are good, which is true. The problem is not the camera, it's the person behind the camera. Let's put that up so people can see that. Okay, it's hard actually for me to recommend. If I had to recommend for you a bad camera, I not anything new. I'd have to go back to the older cameras. All right, so you don't have to have that ache in the pit of your stomach that you're painfully trying to choose a camera. All right, so with Louis Lazuka and me, I've taken him on kind of like a mentorship, and I don't want him to get hurt. So I told him, you're not allowed to buy a camera until I tell you. And how long has that been, Louis? Over a year, buddy? Okay, so now I'm authorizing you to buy the R7. It's your choice. I didn't say you have to go buy it. Okay, but that's my authorization for you, and it basically is for anybody and everybody else. If you want to be in Canon, okay, this is a great entry. Now, I didn't say don't buy the R5 or the R3, which would be wonderful to use. Okay, they're great cameras. Okay, but I'm talking about the ordinary filmmaker. I took Simon's line. Okay, the ordinary photographer. You're not going to spend $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, and if you want to, the cameras are there waiting for you. All right, but you want to spend something sensible. Now, the R7 should have been $1,399, $1,400. Okay, but we could use the supply shortage to say, okay, because they've raised the standard entry price of all the full frame decent cameras to $2,500, $2,499. Even the new Fuji is coming out, $2,499. Everybody likes that $2,499. It's kind of like a pack of wolves. If he can get the price, then so can I. So they all, like together, came up with a standard $2,499 price. So the 90D, which doesn't have internal image stabilization, Doesn't have a high quality 4K image. Doesn't have 60p 4K image. Okay. Doesn't have dual card slots. The R7 has dual card slots. I forgot to mention that. Okay. So here is the chicken man. I had chicken for dinner. You know what I had? I had a bowl of chicken soup. Jewish penicillin. Okay, I made it myself. I did not buy it. It's not from a can. I took a chicken, I stuck it in the pot, I boiled it for 2 hours. I took it out, I deboned it, kept the chicken away, the meat in a separate bowl, put the bones back in, and boiled it for another 2 hours. Then I strained it, threw away the bones. I cut up 3 or 4 onions. I like onions, okay? And put that in and boiled it for another 45 minutes. And then I let it cool and added all my cut up chicken. And let me tell you, didn't add carrots, I did add celery, okay? What an amazingly wonderful, chicken soup. And I had a double bowl of that tonight for dinner. So, and I still feel full. I just burped from chicken soup. Okay, with the adapter, I'm pretty curious about the 18 to 35, 50 to 100 Sigma lenses. They'll work perfectly fine on the Canon. Canon's got one of the best adapter equipment going. It just works. That's the beauty of Canon. When you come home, you're going to have beautiful pictures. And the camera worked the whole time, except those that overheat, okay? Which is not what I'm recommending. You notice nobody said anything about overheating, and all these bunch of guys were in Orlando. I'm in Miami, so Charles is in Orlando. He can also tell you the heat in Florida is hot, all right? No one mentioned anything about overheating. The camera, not even a warning. That's very good news, okay? Very good news. So for you guys that live up in the north where it's cold, non-issue completely. So when I get that camera here, we're going out on the patio and I'm going to see what it takes to actually overheat that camera. Okay. So Norm says, wait a minute. I didn't say what Norm said before. I lost him. Oh, there he is. I lost you, Norm. But I pray for you every single day. Merry Christmas, Peter. Good evening, Greggies around the world. Those new Canon cameras would make excellent Christmas gifts. Wouldn't they make wonderful Christmas gifts? I think you'd have to be kind of in the millionaire, multi-millionaire, billionaires club to actually make use of them. But, you know, would you give your son or your daughter an R7? Are they inclined towards cameras, or would they be better off with the R10? They might use the camera 2 times during the year. Now, if you want to have a camera on hand that you could borrow, yeah, they should have the R7. Because if you're going to borrow a camera, Norm, then I would borrow the R7. But if you were, I'm curious, that's a real question. Would you recommend, because they would be a very light user, they could use their cell phones. They don't have a need for that camera, okay? Honest to goodness. So that R7 is finally Canon, and they're going to dominate. That's the joke. They're a year behind. Everybody is not only on their first camera, Nikon, Sony, Fuji, they're on their second and third cameras. And Canon has nothing to offer in comparison. The 90D, which was a great camera, and I have recommended it. Sly bought one because I said it's a wonderful camera. She happened to like her 80D better, but the 90D is the better camera. But for the last year and a half, Canon has not advanced into the mirrorless in the 90D arena. There's a lot of money in that arena. So you're going to see Costco's, Sam's Club, BJ's. You're going to have boxes with kit lenses, and it's going to be the R7 from Canon. So you're not going to see boxes of Fuji's, okay, and boxes of Sony's, although you might start to see it at Costco with these kits for the club members. But you're going to see the Canon in there. And you know why? Because Canon is going to deliver a really good camera that delivers good pictures and now good imaging for videos with dual card slots, oversampled, image stabilization, flippy screen, and headphone jack, and microphone jack, all in one camera. Now Canon has entered. Now look for Canon, okay, just knowing Canon, to make iterations of that camera, like they did with the 90D. So the 80D, 90D, 77D, M6 Mark I, M6 Mark II, M50. They were all on the same basic sensor. They're going to do the same thing with the R7 sensor. All right, so keep your eyes open for that. But the R7, boing, is the target. Maybe they won't, okay? So, you know. So Matt says it looks like the R10 is trash. It's got its place. It doesn't get the Peter Gregg recommendation. Would I rather have the R10 or the iPhone? One of the newer ones. Good golly, Batman, unless I was going to shoot sports and I had like a teenager son and I just wanted to use that camera at those games and the rest of the time it's in the bag in the drawer. Okay, you could use an R10, okay? But even the focusing, better off, okay, with image stabilization at the R7. Here's Mr. Skinny Pot himself. Hey, buddy, looking thin and trim. Aaron has bypassed me completely, losing weight, and he's doing it with a lot of water. He's washing his systems out, and he look at the avatar. Even got a nice. What a handsome guy. You could put him in a magazine. Hi, Aaron. Good to see you. I love you, dude. Glad to see you are here. Motivated Minds. Carlos is here with me tonight and the rest of us. Thank you for coming in. I love it when you guys, Aaron, Carlos, everybody else are in here with me. It feels like the boys just getting together for their little card game on Friday night. I'll meet you again next Sunday. Not Sunday. Friday night. No battery grip for the R7. Thanks, Canon. We'll have to look into that. They don't come out with everything all at once. So it might be coming. It might never come. I don't know. Okay. But they do have the bigger battery that goes in like the 5D Mark IV. The BLM, it's not BLM. What's it called? ENL. No, not ENL. Yeah, it is ENL. Whatever that is. Norm says, can you imagine the trauma that the surviving children will carry on for the rest of their lives? That girl that I told you about that rolled over her classmate to get and smear herself with blood, okay? I don't hear anything about her, but I just read an article today that said she is having a horrendous time dealing with it. She still feels that and this is a child, what, 8, 9 years old? She still feels she's in danger. She feels people are going to break into her house and shoot. Okay, they've had to call the police, and the police responded, God bless them, to come and tell the girl that she's safe. That's the trauma that Norm is talking about, okay? That's why I am not going to keep quiet when they use this, you know, with 19 dead children and the living survivors, okay? I'm not going to allow it to be used without saying something. It's my point of the line in the sand, okay? Now you can have it say something completely different, okay? You're not me, I'm me. I'll be me. I want to be the best me I could be. Okay, so Jeff is here. Hi, Peter and all. Hi, Jeff. How you doing, buddy? Okay, Charles will be here next Friday. We'll see if we can connect up. And if we do, high five, fist bump, ice cream, or some kind of ice cream. And if not, I love you anyway, Charles. So Sammy's here. Hey, Sammy, I love you. Thank you for being in here. I appreciate you coming in. When will we be seeing the R7 in the Christmas room? If we just look at the scheduling, if it's going to come out towards the end of June, okay, they're going to fill orders before they're going to allow me to have one here as a review unit. So I would say I would be looking forward to me getting my hands on and having it in here in July, if God is willing and the bridge isn't up. I don't even know, you know, what else to say. I'm speculating. I'm predicting. Here, Sly's answering my question. No, I sold the 90D. John Vanderroot sold me his Sony ZV-1. I just was using it today and bought a Canon G7X Mark III. Love them both. Fantastic on-the-go cameras. So that is what you're seeing if you go to Sly Reader and you watch her latest videos. That's what you're seeing. Now, what did I use the ZV-1 for today? I'm making a salad, a big fat salad, and I cooked bacon and I cooked a hot dog and I cooked eggs, and I used the ZV-1 to zoom in on the pan on the stove where you could see me flipping the bacon. And then when that was done, I kept recording, and I made the hot dog and I chopped it up into little pieces. I crumbled the bacon up and I put it into the salad, and I sliced the eggs in and put it into the salad. I used romaine lettuce, and I'm making a keto salad. And I'm going to cook a steak and put that in there. So I got a few videos coming down on the kitchen side, but things have been a little hectic here. You know what's going on with the house and all that. Well, our lawyer has resigned from the case. Surprise! Just add more crap on Peter's head, okay? So now we're dealing with that. What else am I going to say? Norm says the D3 is in another category compared to the 1D Mark III. So I started to tell you, I went and added Nikon, and I have a very nice collection of Nikon lenses also, okay? But I moved from the Nikon D3 to the D3X, and from the D3X to the D800E. They had a non-E model and an E model. Lewis says, oh, Sly, oh, he's talking to Sly. I've made my recommendation for you, Lewis. You could say what you like, but it's not going to change, okay? That's the one. So Aaron, what did you order? He ordered the RCP2, RCD2, okay? So that's what Aaron's got coming in. Scott, hi gang, I'm late tonight. Fortunately, my girlfriend is not. Oh my God, Scott, it took me a second to get that. Thank God, okay? You're being a good boy, okay? So Aaron says, what about the chicken? Norm, you gotta say something about the chicken, buddy. We all wait to hear about the chicken, okay? So Sly is talking to Lazuka, and they're talking back and forth to each other. I'm saying Lazuka so you don't think it's Mr. Camera Junkie, because they're both named Lewis. So if I just keep saying Lewis, and if you're just listening, you're not going to know if I mean Mr. Camera Junkie Lewis with his son Aiden, or if I'm talking Louis Lazuka Lewis with his no son. Norm just covers the names with black tape. But you've been doing that for years. I don't do that. Charles is saying, when is your next video coming out on the cooking channel? Subscribe over at Peter's Kitchen. And you could see, and I think there's an alert system when the next videos are out. I've been doing a video or more a week. So this week I didn't get to do a video because of the lawyer stuff. I just didn't have time to be recording. I barely ate, but I've got a couple of them coming out. Charles, do you know what skirt steak is? It's a lousy steak. Okay, I'm not going to beat around the bush, but it's a lower price steak, okay, and it's in a lot of the Latin, what's it called? Sure, something, but it's too hard to chew. I can't deal with it, okay, but I have figured out a way to break the rules and make it the best steak I have ever eaten, including filet mignons, prime ribs, okay. And I'm excited, so I'm going to share that as one of the videos, and that's what I've got going there. Plus, I'm actually recording the making of the salad. The chicken wound up in hot water. Woo! He got deboned. Scott says, as a strobist, I was pleased to see the R7 had a sync. I didn't know that, Scott. It actually has a sync speed of 1/320. for your flash. Flash, flash, flash. Where's my flash? So when you put your flash on here, okay, so this flash actually has a better bounce card on it. So if you're going to shoot flash and you want to diffuse it, I actually have a creation called the Better Bounce Card Flash Diffuser. It's at petergregg.com, okay? And you can order it there. And I got them all sitting right here. So there's 5 different versions of it, different sizes. And I've got a new one coming out. Just to toot my horn for a second, okay? This is the regular size and the large, okay? So we have the regular size and the large. So these are flash diffusers that goes onto your external flash. You shouldn't be shooting flash head on, okay? It's very harsh, all right? And then there's also, if I can get it to stop sticking to each other, okay, there's also the little baby. So those are the 3 sizes. I use this when the bride's getting ready, and I want to be a little more stealth, because many times you raise the camera up and they go boing and they smile. Okay, I don't want that. I want candid shots. So I put the small diffuser, okay, and this is better than that little white pop-up bounce thing that's built into the flash for 2 reasons. It's a little bit bigger, okay, and if you turn the camera to portrait mode, this instantly pops back up. You just flip it back up and you immediately get a portrait or landscape mode. So what I got coming out is, and this is the one I use the most, but the most misunderstood. This is all black. So if the first question that popped into your head is, what do I do with an all black flash diffuser? This is not for you, but I use this one the most, okay? Now here's the new one. I have been in pain as to what to name it. I finally named it. This is called the Mountain Man. It's bigger than all of them combined. Let's get over into the picture. Okay, we don't want this to fall to the floor. So if I put all these down, this was the largest you could buy, and now this is the Mountain Man. The Mountain Man, okay, it's not released yet. It's not for sale. It's probably going to be $25 all by itself. I'm going to be like the camera companies. It's going to sell for a while for those that want the Mountain Man. So what is the Mountain Man good for? The Mountain Man is good for when you're in just one of those plain dark black churches or receptions and you need a bigger light, or you want to set up a couple of lights and you want them to be a little bit like a softbox or an umbrella. You can put a couple of flashes on the side and make them all sync together, and you could put the Mountain Man on there, and it gives you a very large diffused flash. This is not on the market yet, okay? I'm making a few and people are stealing them from me. Peter, I heard that you finally got that big one out. Can I have one? Oh my God, please. All right, so the Mountain Man is coming out. All right, so much for the commercial. Oh, thank you, Charles. He's glad to see everybody here, and he's telling everybody happy Memorial Day weekend. So yes, happy Memorial Day weekend. We are at the end of the show, so let me just go quickly down. You guys are talking to each other. Okay, Mark is here. I absolutely positively have to give Mark an I love you and a hug. He hates that, but I do it anyway. Hey Peter, how's it going? In your opinion, could someone see the difference between 40 megapixels and 50? No. Same thing with 36 on my D800E. All those megapixels, usually, unless you're actually shooting for the posters, what do you call those things that when you drive, all right, do very little for you except in the crop. Okay, so by getting a 40, 50 high-end megapixels, one lens can be the equivalent to having a 24 millimeter, a 35 millimeter, 50 millimeter, and an 85 millimeter. If you just shot with your 24 millimeter, you just crop in, and your picture actually looks untouched. That's the magic of these high megapixels. Is that the only magic? Heck no. I was going to say hell no. Okay, you actually get a 3D looking picture because you're taking everything that's been shot. So let's say there's a hair out of place. the more you compress that picture. So if you're starting with 50, 60 megapixels, the smaller that hair is going to look, that imperfection. So the more the megapixels that you have, for a normal 8x10, 16x20s, 5x7s, your pictures are going to look more three-dimensional and higher quality. So there's a reason for them being there. But the biggest one is one lens will give you the equivalent of a bunch of lenses on the same, whatchamacallit, okay? So, where was I? I was with Mark. Also, would you take a great dynamic range or high megapixels? You know something? I would take the high megapixels, and the only reason for that is great dynamic range is like self-pleasure. Okay? When you please yourself, you just do it right, all right? But it does nothing for everybody else, all right? So unless you actually have a camera that's delivering really shitty pictures, then I'd rather have the megapixels and make more use of them. The high dynamic range, for those that are pixel peepers and you're going to look deep down into the picture and write an article that no one's going to read, dynamic range is for you, okay? So some of these sacred cows, okay, are sacred cows and they need to go, all right? However, this is not one sentence for everybody. Anybody that listens to me or anybody else and thinks that that one sentence is for everybody is crazy, okay? There's a billion different people, all right, let's say 7, and 7 billion different opinions, and if they have 2, that's 14 billion. I was just watching a Tesla Model Y, which is the car I want. It's not a secret. You guys know I like the Model Y, all right? And for the first time ever, I never paid that much attention to what's called car wrapping. So you buy a new car and you get it wrapped. Okay, so you get a rock and it makes a scratch on the wrapping. You put it out in the sun, the whole car, and little by little it'll heal that scratch. Now you do that without it being wrapped with the P, what is it called? P something, okay? And you got a scratch on your hood, all right? So the one thing, I live in Miami, is the heat. All right, Tesla has a full front to back glass top. Okay, I don't want to sit in the car when God willing, I eventually have a miracle and I can buy one and boil. Well, this guy wrapped his roof with the color of the paint. Wow, I never thought of that. Now, is that for everybody? No. Is it for me? Yeah, I paid attention. Okay. So, you know, different strokes for different folks and different things. All right, guys, I'm just taking a quick scan. No one's popped into the room that I haven't acknowledged. So now we have completed. You guys, I want you to have a good and safe Memorial Day weekend. I pray every day for you, every day, for every one of you, okay? So I'm going to be praying for you to have a safe, healthy, prosperous Memorial Day weekend, and God will keep you safe from the tragedies that are going on, okay? Because we've seen them this week. We've seen them in our local high school, okay? There's a 16-year-old boy that this week committed suicide, okay? His first name is Sebastian. He's on the wrestling team. He stopped going to the meets. He stopped going. All the red flags were all there. The coaches, the teachers, they all missed it. The boy committed suicide. Okay. Also, I think 2 weeks ago, we had a 14-year-old boy commit suicide. He's in a Christian school, and somebody gave him a what do you call those vapor guns? Vape guns, something like that. Things that you smoke with. Well, he's all 100% into the Bible. Okay, completely. He loves God, loves the church. Okay, that's all he talks about. And he's a bucket of love. I saw some videos. Okay, and his mother said he's the happiest, jolliest kid ever. Well, he sold this vape gun and he got caught. So the school didn't suspend him. They, what do you call it when you throw him out of school? Expelled him. Okay, well, the child misinterpreted that as God rejecting him. And this kid is all about God. Okay? His joy is God. So in his mind, he thought God rejected him, and he couldn't handle that. He got expelled on one day. The next day, he committed suicide. He thought God threw him away. Okay? As strong of a Christian that I am, I hope that school shuts down. When you don't have respect for what's given to you to handle, get out of here. Okay? I'm getting mad again. So let's just calm down. All right? I mean, they have a no tolerance policy. Well, I have a no tolerance policy too. I just adopted it. Okay? You want the whole school to close down because of that? Absolutely yes. They miss, whatever you want to call it, the trust of that child in their hand. They should have realized what that child was about. Okay? So I could feel myself getting angry. Okay? So yes, I'm a Christian, but that doesn't mean every Christian is perfect. Okay? Same thing with politics. Same thing with newscasters. All right? So you call a spade a spade. You call things as they are. And I would like to see that school completely shut down. You want to start a new one? Go ahead. Okay? But that was irresponsibility at its greatest. All right. I want you guys to have a happy Memorial Day weekend, not leave here sad or hearing me yelling. So I pray for all of you guys. I love all of you guys. I don't think I need to say this, but just in case, if there's anybody watching me that is contemplating suicide, do not do it. It's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Do not commit suicide, okay? Get in touch with someone. We even have somebody in here. Where is he? Right here, okay? He's in our group. Motivated Minds has a channel. If you're planning on committing suicide, connect up with him. His name is Carlos. Connect up with me. Email me. Don't do anything rash. We love you. We want you around. I need to kick your butt for a while longer. You're part of my family by you being here. Okay? So, my love to you. Let's focus on the great things that we have and thank God for the wonderful things that we do have. And I thank God for you and all your comments and all your corrections and everything that goes with it. And on that basis, let's meet next week. Same time, same place. Bye.